Okay, so today is definitely one of the worst days I ever had in my entire, okay, no, not entire, but like in the past 1 month since I started using this whole new system. Like today is definitely the worst day I have had. I lost around $500 across like all my accounts, and which is insane because today is now the one day I was able to get like an actual good entry. Like I was able to calculate the lot size on all my accounts, place a pending order, and nicely retraced and tap me in. I was so like this is the reason why my PNL is probably the worst like out of all the videos I recorded so far. So okay, let me not explain too much. Let me just break the trade down. So let's just go right into it. So I'm going to open trade. I'm going to put this on this side here. And I actually watch my own videos. For those who don't even know, I watch my own videos and then like I come back and realize that like my head is blocking the charts. So let me just see whether this works better. I'm going to put it this way. So I'm just going to keep on testing things until I see how far. Anyway, so I'm going to start with this one trade. Okay, my brightness so low. I'm going to start with this one trade. So what happened? Market open is here. You can already see the two that I got cloud. But market open is here, and when the market opened, we swept these highs. And there's no news today, so right from market open, I was active. So market opened, we swept these highs, and then what do we have? We have this this structure. So we have this break of structure here. But since that break of structure also took out these 5 minute lows, I was no longer interested in selling, which I have probably mentioned before. I don't remember in which video, but I probably mentioned before that I'm no longer glued to one bias. Like okay, if we sweep these highs, then okay, we're selling. No, I'm no longer glued to one bias because if we trigger the buy side, we trigger sell side liquidity and then trigger buy side liquidity. It just means that the market wants to just take out both ends and then continue going the opposite direction, right? So that was one thing I was looking out for. And then since there was no fair value gap here that was engaged to show that we were actually going to keep on going to the downside, I still also wasn't concerned with taking a sell. So my bias now flipped to um bullish, right? I'll take bias. So now this is where the confusing part started from because I want you guys to pay attention to this very tiny fair value gap that is here. This fair value gap alone means a lot. Why? Because this is the first presented fair value gap, which I have mentioned before. And the first presented fair value gap has a very, very strong pull on price. Like if we were actually bullish and price came into this to react like and reacted off it, I would definitely want to take a buy. But since I wasn't bullish, I wanted to see it get disrespected. But I just want you guys to keep your eyes on, like, keep in mind this fair value gap. So we get to this point, and then I'm like, okay, since this is not the first presented fair value gap, this is. I want to see this get inversed, and then we buy. Even if it doesn't inverse, it doesn't matter because I don't think it's to get respected. I will just continue going to the upside. Good and fine. So what do we do? I go back to that point. I'm going to go back to that point where, so this is the structure that was there, and then you can see there is this low. Oops, wrong tool. There is this low that got taken out. Then obviously this low right here, and then this is the high. So this is the high here. Then we were within that 5 minutes fair value gap, that bearish fair value gap. I was telling myself like, okay, now we're definitely going to disrespect this and then tap into this fair value gap here and continue buying. Boy, was I wrong. This trade, like, I mean, it was almost a snipe. It was always a snipe, and I was like, okay, yeah, man, like, we're definitely like moving now. Like, snipe this thing, start pushing immediately. And I was like, oh man, this trade is about to be a banger. Because mind you, I risked 2% on each of my accounts on this trade because I needed just 4% here to pass one of my accounts. So I just reached 2% on each account just so that I could pass phase one on that account and be done with it and then continue with phase two because this was such a nice setup. But that later didn't end up happening and then that got completely disrespected. Like that guy got run through. So this guy got respected, and then my stop loss got completely run through. Now this was where the problem started from, because I was not looking around and I was like, why did this trade fail? Like this Loki shouldn't have failed. Like this should have been an A plus setup. Like this was clean. So I now genuinely just went and looked at a different broker. So right now I'm using capital.com. So I went on a different broker, and then you can see I'm using forex.com here, and then you can clearly see this gap. Now this 930 open here, and there was no gap. That fair value gap that was here is no longer here on this broker. And I was like, so the broker manipulated me. So this low key was the first presented fair value gap. And if that was what I saw, if this was what I saw at first, I would have treated differently. So I will have low key waited for this to either get inversed, right? Or we'll just continue waiting for structures to break. And that's exactly what you're seeing. Another two here indicating the second trade I now took on the day. Bro, I'm not even going to lie, this trade was low key annoying because I don't even understand. Like, I got wicked out and then it just went to my TP. So I'm still going to explain that one too. So, as you can clearly see, I think I might low key even start sticking to this particular broker. I might start sticking to them. I mean, last week I tried using another, and this other broker I was using went out. They went offline. So you can see here, and I actually just realized that eventually, I mean, the data looks is different, but I mean, I'll still get some field. So I don't know. I might stick to this for now, sure, but let's just see. So let's just assume now that this is exactly the same. This is exactly what I saw one price at. No fair value gap here. This is the first presented. Since the first presented fair value gap is a very strong drawn liquidity, like I wouldn't expect it to what's it called not get respected, because the first gap that price literally formed is going to be high drawn liquidity, and like I don't want to see that like get respected and consider going to the downside. So I'll look you waited for an inverse, or I'll just wait for this structure or this low here to get taken out. So what happened? This gap didn't inverse, and then we eventually get the lows taken out. And then I'll now go on the 1 minute time frame and start waiting for a 1 minute displacement. If I just go back to those lows, yeah, so you can see that if these lows get taken out, that structure there, these lows get taken out eventually, then these lows get taken out again. So now the structure is here, this high and this low. So eventually we get the 1 minute displacements and then the fair value gap. Normal model, like this is, I've said this like 1 billion times now, like literally a unicorn model. It's an ICT model as well. So ICT model for what's it called, a buy. 1 minute displacement, fair value gap with a proper narrative, not just any, like you don't just see any displacement and enter off of it. And you also need to be good at marking out structure too, because the 1 minute can be pretty confusing. So like you can actually look and make a mistake. So I guess I got some pretty good at marking out structure that I really wasn't what's called bother about that. But yeah, so we eventually get displacement and then the fair value gap here. And so at this point in time, since I already lost a trade in like before, I didn't now want to risk too much on this one as well. So I risked half the position I had lost to at least go back break even for the day. Seemed pretty like okay to me. So what's it called? I risked 1% this time on each account. I couldn't trade one of my, like I couldn't trade the GoFunded account I have, because you can't lose 2% in one day. I think I'm not even particularly sure. I think you can't lose 2% while like the trade is running. But I really didn't want to risk the account because it's already live funded. So I left that one. Then the challenge accounts I risked 1% each. And you can clearly see I got did it. I got did it on this trade. Like they literally wicked me out, and the next candle kept on going to profit, and then eventually TP 1:2. So this low key was the worst day I've had like trading in a while. I mean, I've had like a pretty decent win streak. Like I've had winning weeks, but man, today was ridiculous. So I'm going to just continue sticking with this broker I'm going to compare the differences right now. Like after I'm done with this, I'm going to compare the differences between the both of the charts and see what the difference is. If I'm actually going to continue with this or not. Now this makes you realize why people who trade futures are actually better than people who trade like CFDs, because they they have one like they have one chart, so they all see the same thing, and all the futures platforms use the same chart. So like, there's no manipulation. Like, you don't have to decipher which broker has better data or whatever. So futures look better, but you can't trade futures as a Nigerian. So I mean, I have to stick to what I have for now. Hopefully, one day futures will come into Nigeria, and then we're able to use that. Even though now I funded next has like futures, but futures prop firms have ridiculous rules. I rather have a futures live account than a futures prop firm, because CFDs give you better prop firms and better they give you better rules on their prop firms as well. Like for instance, now CFDs have 10% drawdown, while futures prop firms have like I think 5% or 6%, something like that overall, which is insane. That's almost the same, almost called drawdown as an instant funded account on a CFD prop. So how would I forfeit that to come and start using a futures prop firm? So I mean, for now, I'm just going to stick to CFDs until eventually maybe we scale our capital and then we can start using prop firms. I mean, futures. Um, I think I don't know, personal assessment. I always try to assess myself even when I watch my videos. I think I'm not doing a very good job at explaining some of the trades. I'm not doing it. I think I'm not explaining it well enough for someone else who isn't even started, like who just started out trading. I think one reason why is probably because I don't have a script. I'm saying this off from the top of my head, and I feel like it's not good. Like, it's not helping other people. I don't know. It's just my opinion. If you feel the same way, please just like comment it. Like, I want to know whether I'm doing the right thing or whether like I need to make some improvements here and there. Maybe I'm too fast. Maybe I'm too slow even. Like, or maybe I skip out some important details. I don't explain like some certain areas perfectly. So if that's the case, please like just comment and like I try to improve. I'm always trying to get better every day, like every single day. I hate being like in the same position like I was yesterday. So yeah, that was just by the way. So this is basically the trade I took today. You guys can take my word for it. I wouldn't lie for any reason that I lost $500, but I'll definitely post the. I never really post my P&L on Twitter, but I'll post the executions and the charts as well. You guys have already seen why I lost the trades. So when you see the executions, you basically decipher, okay, yeah, this will happen. So yeah, I'm going to do that right now, and then I'll definitely like backtest this and then journal, because that's what I always do. And I advise anybody else to also do that too, because journaling also helped me. And not just like screenshotting the trade and then keeping it and writing down like, oh, I had a liquidity sweep. Then low key, if you're journaling, like write down the emotion you had before you took the trade, like the emotion after, whether you revenge traded. You One might call this revenge trading. I wouldn't call this revenge trading in my own opinion, because I literally saw there was a mistake, like manipulation here, and I thought that I could ride the move. Even though I should just stuck to my rules and just trade it once a day. But for me to have broken it means that I knew that I was confident in the bias. Like, I wasn't just chasing price. I was confident, okay, there was a manipulation, and let's just see whether this plays out. So I was okay taking that risk, which I normally never do. So if you're journaling, like low key, just like write the emotions you had down before taking the trade, after, and even what I do sometimes, bro, because I'm gonna say this right now, like I don't even I'm at home now, so obviously some things happen in the house, and like some things can happen with your family too, because most people who trade as well, if you're like me, your family doesn't probably like the idea, and then one thing they say to you can piss you off, and then you just want to go to the markets and prove them wrong, like make you $1,000 today so you can prove to your family that everything's working out. You probably need to write that down as well, because it might start getting to you and then you start making emotional decisions. And then for me personally, writing down like my emotions or writing down in a journal always helps me like get better. Like, it takes my mind off it. So I always try to journal a lot and then it's called think straight. So yeah, that's basically the trade breakdown for today. Horrible start to the week, but let's just see if I can end this week profitable. Like, let's just see whether after all this I'm still profitable at the end of the week. So yeah, that's it for now, and then I'll catch you guys tomorrow. So Peace, and then stay safe. It's December. Price action is horrible. So try and keep your accounts. I'll see you guys tomorrow.